Okay, I recently watched a video. There are many kind of videos like it out there, but this one certainly struck a chord with me. The amount of comments below were predictably so vitriolic. Not one of my videos. It proclaimed a mirrorless system as the best in the world. Well, actually, it did not say that. I totally take that back. It actually proclaimed the best camera in the world. um, Now, let's be rational and amicable here. Um, Now, if someone were to state that this is my personal belief, conviction, or feeling that this is the best mirrorless camera in the world, it's like, okay, let's examine the criteria that you give. And those criteria don't add up, as it happens. And the comments below, are very exposing of that. Some of which I don't ever approve of. Uh, the nasty vitriol, but statements like that are incredibly hyperbolic. Now, to state best camera, well, let's be logical here. I mean, obviously I've done a bunch of Fuji reviews lately, but I've got like 1,000 reviews of Nikon and Nikon lenses, but you know, it doesn't matter to me, what the hell you spend your money on. I'm not, nobody's endorsing me, and nor do I want anybody to endorse me. I've been offered a couple endorsements by some smaller people. They tried to offer me some free gear, and as I told you months ago, I turned them down. Don't need their free crap. I can't stand people that are puppets. If someone loves something dearly, inherently, it's like, well, I'm a puppet for the company, but I love their crap a whole lot, regardless. And you can choose to believe that or not believe it. It ultimately doesn't matter. But to say that something is the best camera in the world is reductionistically a hyperbolic fallacy. I mean, that is de facto and arguably so the case. I mean, that cannot be argued otherwise. It absolutely cannot be argued because, as is the case, to speak of a camera is to speak of a platform. When you're actually buying a camera, the most important thing about this camera, I love the Fuji, I don't like Leica. Well, who gives a damn? That's fine. Okay, what do you love about it? Well, it's great. Does this? Well, that's fine. What about the Nikon? Well, I love the Nikon. It's the best crap in the world. And well, that's the camera. What about the platform? Well, what the hell is the platform? The most important thing of either one of these cameras, whether it's Nikon or Sony or Canon or Fuji, is the platform. Okay, what's a platform? It's a statement that's said in cars that horsepower sells cars, but torque wins the races. And this is also the case with camera systems. The key word being system or platform, and we have to denotate what that means to say whether something is the best camera in the world, which of course there is no such BS as the best camera in the world. I mean, it's just baloney. But we also can be specific and not be reductionistic and say, well, there is no good camera, they're all equally good, whatever the hell you like to shoot, that's fine too. Well, that's not true either. If you got some old turd-ass Minolta camera, which still works, and you want to call it the best camera in the world, well, I mean, you're full of crap, because you can't get parts for it anymore. I mean, it's just an old piece of crap. So we can state that something is a whole lot closer to the best, even though there is no best, and something is a whole damn lot closer, if not right near there, is the worst. So we could both state that, there's no such thing as the best camera, but we can damn well state whether something is really crappy or really good. Approaches one end of the spectrum or the other. In the case of the terms platform and system, you're investing in a platform, not a camera. So what you see here in the cameras with no lenses attached, if they had no lenses attached, is you're looking at the camera, and a lot of people choose a camera based upon the specs of the camera. And you are really screwing up when you do that. I mean, you're just being, let me be blunt, you're being a moron when you do that. A moron. Anybody that does it, doesn't matter whether it's Sony, Fuji, Nikon. Of course, Nikon has the best platform. They do. Obviously, they've got 4 glass factories. They've got more cash than anybody else. Sony was rated as junk status only 10 months ago by Forbes. their main money makers of television sets, poof, it's all gone to Panasonic and LG and everybody else. Their computers, poof. You know, when's the last time you saw a Sony computer for sale? You know, they're not getting rich off their PlayStations either. So a lot of the money that Sony used to have some serious bucks in, like their personal recorders and portable, you know, CD players and DVD. Nobody uses DVD players anymore either, really. All that crap is poof. The TVs, the computers, poof, poof, poof. But you're investing in a platform, you know, and a platform, I can state strictly as a platform, not speaking of any specific camera, that Nikon is the best platform. Well, you're sounding like a Nikon fanboy, now you're just blowing smoke up my ass. Well, no, hold on a minute. They've got more cash than anybody else, they've got more glass factories. Sony just came onto the market, they've got nothing in the way of glass. Well, they've got Zeiss, they've got a few, they've got nothing. They really do have nothing. Now, the great specs, unlike the Sony a7R II, for example, a7R Mark II, for example, the specs are nowhere near as good, you know, especially in autofocus. If you plan on using adapters and Canon lenses, and I think they just came out with a Nikon adapter. So unless you're using their very limited spectrum of lenses, which are, by the way, insanely expensive, but I've got a lot of insanely expensive glass, it's a bad platform. And the people that absolutely are total hardcore Sony fanboys, they'll actually tell you. They won't tell you up front, but they will tell you. It's like, yeah, you know, I don't like the platform. There's not much available for it. And when you use an adapter and a Canon lens on that a7R Mark II, you know, crap really goes downhill fast as far as what it's able to do. So you got to think about the platform, the system. I'll get off the platform and the system in a second. The warranty work, you know, Nikon. Getting back to this lenses, I mean, you got 60 years and countless billions of dollars in lens factories. Okay? Sony ain't got none of that, sorry to tell you. None of it! Nor do they have great, cheap lenses. They've got a couple great lenses, but they sure as hell ain't cheap. And it's like, well, you know, the camera costs X amount of money. Well, that's great. Okay. What about the platform? What? The camera's got great specs. Don't give a shit. What about the platform? What about the lenses available for it? Is it going to cost you a fortune to buy a couple nice lenses for it? Or you could buy a really nice camera like this, a D810, D7100, whatever the hell it is. And then you got 60 years of lenses, a billion of which are cheap. Just dirt cheap on eBay, really good ones. So for $1,000 you could get a half a dozen really awesome lenses, or one half, or one third really, of one new Sony lens. So that's something to consider. You know, this cannot be argued. I mean, it's a fact. Getting back to the whole notion of, I forget what it was, yeah, the best camera in the world! Which, you know, yeah, nobody can say that about any camera. But let's get logical. Logic, reason, common sense, wisdom. Logic, reason, common sense, wisdom. Let's talk about that. No camera makes the best camera, okay? In the very least, it must be admitted that the a7R II Sony overheats, it's glitchy, and has other nagging flaws and shortcomings. But a lot of cameras do have that as well. You know, it also has to be stated that, for example, that regarding the Sony sensor, nobody can state that, for example, on the Sony sensor, regardless of its high megapixel output, that you know, it's the best, because like a Mamiya medium format digital, well, I mean, will blow the pants off of everything, including the Sony. So it's not the best in sensor output. Therefore, it's certainly not the best camera in the world. Watching the most calm chap on earth, Darren Miles Photography, in his recent video review on the a7R Mark II, I wouldn't say you had a hissy, but you know, this guy is as calm and cool as a cucumber. He had, from reports, 3 total system crashes where all the settings were lost, and you know, that's not desirable. F-stoppers got pissed that the camera overheated, and I've noticed myself of the 2 days that I actually was able to use one, I was lucky to be able to have 2 days with it. I was in Florida, I should have made a video review. That the backlit, low light but strong backlit artifacts are absolutely horrible. F-Stoppers and others report on this as well, where the Sony was, the A7R Mark II, their latest $3,000, by the way, $3,000 flagship camera, was an epic failure. Darren Miles' conclusions, paraphrasing me here, said it's unreliable for video recording, and he's right on that. And then it lacked a second SD card slot, which he's right on that. And then it overheated, he's right on that, and that's why he said he didn't recommend it for wedding photography as it currently exists, and he's right on that. So to be truthful, undeniably so, there's no best camera, since this encompasses many different attributes of which you might claim, in specific X attribute, the Sony A7R Mark II is the best mirrorless in the world, in that specific attribute. But not all attributes, to be certain. And likewise, given amount of great and cheap glass, 60 years and $25 billion of the glass factory is over that of Sony. Sony just got on the scene here, you know. Sony doesn't even repair their own cameras, much less do they have their own lenses. Okay, they don't. Much less do they have 60 years of output, you know, in multiple glass factories in 4 different countries. Or is it 5? So in that case, you could say, well, the D810 or the D750 is the best camera in the world in that attribute, because it is a better platform. It has a huge platform. It's like, well, I just bought this great camera. Well, that's great. I mean, but what's the platform on it? Well, what the hell does that mean? That means, you know, can you get a lot of really great lenses and accessories and stuff for it? You know, if you got the best mirrorless camera in the world, but you've got nothing but a handful of overpriced freaking lenses, you know, even if money's no object, you can't really call that the best camera in the world, certainly so. But the camera is never a camera. It's always a platform or system, and Sony's system, you know, by any admission regarding its lack of glass, is certainly not the best. You can't even dare say that. It's not possible. As is the case using non-Sony lenses with adapters and whatnot. The A7R II comes up very short of its full potential and its listed specifications. If you use something other than a small handful of overpriced lenses for it, then the specs go, and that's undeniable. It's an undeniable fact. So we can't say that this camera is best even as a mirrorless. We can't say that it is best. We certainly can't say it is best as a camera. We have to make choices and decisions that help other people. And this is not an attack on anybody, and I don't give a damn if you think that it is. But there's one thing that burns my ass up, and that's above all else, no matter what the hell you think about me being a fat, bald, whatever, I don't give a damn about that. I actually like helping people. And that's not to say other people don't like helping people, but I am of the firm conviction that one must be wise, logical, sensible, and accurate in statements regarding saying something is the best in the world, or, you know, you can't say stuff like that. You can't. I mean, you can say it, and you say, well, that's just my personal belief or conviction. And that's fine, too, but even then, you can't say it. Because then you're making an extremely hyperbolic fallacy and stating that every attribute of that particular camera makes it, collectively, the best camera in the world. And that's not true. It has a very poor platform because Sony just got on the market, and it's got no damn lenses, and it overheats. And it's got other issues, so it's not the best camera in the world. I mean, it doesn't have the best output either. I mean, I'll go grab a Mamiya medium format digital camera, and it'll blow the ass off of the Sony A7R II and the Nikon and everything else. So it's not the best in sensors either. So we have to be realistic and logical in what we state about something, whether it does or does not have something. Okay? Thank you for watching so much. This video was meant to be helpful. Okay, and that is all it was meant. If you think it's something else, that is your issue and not mine. Okay?